Okay, so let's walk through some tools that you are going to be expected to know in order to do professional JavaScript. So the first one is HTML. Definitely a hard requirement there. You need to know how this technology works in order to create a web page. Then we have CSS. You need to know that as well. It's the way that you make something look a certain way on a web page. So you styles things in different ways and like fonts and colors and all that good stuff that makes a web page all pretty and nice. That's CSS for you. Sass is the next level of CSS. So Sass is a tool that allows you to use variables and logic and other cool stuff inside of CSS, which allows you to do even cooler stuff with CSS. Now, Sass is not a hard requirement in the sense that there are other tools out there that do the same thing. Sass, Less, and PostCSS right now, very popular. However, Sass, I argue, is the best bet to start with because it's the oldest of them all, and it's the one that is most broadly distributed. It's the one that's most common and then the most likely the one that you're going to encounter doing professional JavaScript or front-end development. And you can pick up the others very quickly because the others are based on the same concepts as Sass. Then we have React. So React is a JavaScript framework which Facebook has produced. It is not the only by far JavaScript framework out on the market, but it is the strongest contender for being the best one, I would say. I have used almost all of the frameworks. I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to say all of them, but most of the frameworks, and the most popular ones are Angular by Google and then React by Facebook. I've used both for big projects, and I've been using them for a few years each, and I can say that my personal favorite is React, and right now it's probably the industry's favorite framework, and I think you should start learning React because I don't see how Angular is going to compete long term with React. It's just getting so popular right now. Then we have Webpack, and Webpack is a JavaScript bundler, and what that means is that in a big project you usually have a lot of different JavaScript files, and some files depend on other files, and you want to maybe create a library with a lot of functions in one file, and then you want to use those functions in another file, and that is what Webpack lets you do. It lets you have all these files in different places, and then you can require them in other files and import them and stuff like that. And that's in essence what a bundler does. And then when you run your JavaScript folders or all your files through Webpack, Webpack is going to spit out a single bundle file, or well, you can configure it in different ways, but that's usually the case. It will spit out a single bundle file for you, which contains all of the code that you wrote, so you don't have to do that yourself. And Webpack can do much more than that, so I urge you to check it out. There are other bundlers out on the market, but Webpack is right now the most popular one and the one that I suggest you start with because it's probably going to be the strongest and most popular one for quite some time. Then we have Mocha. So Mocha is not a hard requirement, but it is a hard requirement for you to know what a test runner is, and that's what Mocha is. It allows you to run unit tests, and there are others out there. You can run Mocha, there's Jest by Facebook, and there's also Karma, which are probably the biggest three. Now, I personally prefer Mocha because it's the most performant one, and it's probably the one that is easiest to start getting used to. And for the most part, which one you go with is fairly arbitrary. It doesn't really matter all that much, but you're gonna have to know one of them, so I suggest you start with Mocha. And we have NPM or Node Package Manager. This is a definite hard requirement for front-end development. This is the tool and the repository that you're going to use in order to get all of the different JavaScript packages that are out on the web. And like almost all of the open source communities are based around NPM. So this is definitely something you need to know. And then lastly we have Node. So Node is a tool that allows you to run JavaScript outside of the browser in your own terminal or on a server or something like that. And Node is probably the most popular technology right now in development. it's it's basically allowing developers that only know JavaScript to do server-side logic, which wasn't possible before, and that's why it's so powerful. But it's also very common when you do things like tools, and most of the stuff like npm, for example, is based on Node, so you need to have Node in order to run npm. So that's why it's important to at least have a basic understanding of Node. And I would say that you're probably going to be really good. Like, if you find Node interesting, you should invest some time in learning it, because trust me, that is only going to help you going forward. I mean, if you decide that no, I want to do just plain old server-side development and I want to focus on the server instead of the front end, and you know JavaScript, then there are companies who will hire you if you know Node, because, as I said, the trend is going in that direction. So those are the bare essential tools, I would say. Now, it's not that you have to be a master of these, but I can very certainly say that these tools are what you're going to be expected to have an understanding of. If you go to a job interview, or if you start working in some office somewhere and you don't have any clue what these things are, then you're going to raise some eyebrows. These are the bare essentials right here. So learn these tools, learn them well. There's tons of resources on the web, and invest some time in looking into each of them. You don't have to be an expert to get your first job, but invest some time, because these are the things that you're gonna have to know, right?